These birders are amazing. I couldn't be happier with this company.
We absolutely love these cages.
One at a time, okay, guys?
Hey guys, welcome to another Coturnix Corner Live. Glad everyone could join us today. I see over in the chat room, got a lot of old friends in there that I haven't seen in a while, so it's good to see them guys back in here. I know, guys, I said a few weeks back that I was going to kind of hold off on the live streams for a little bit until I worked through some issues going on here at the house, but I don't have anything going this week, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go live, and I don't want you guys to think that, we've abandoned you here at Coturnix Corner, so figured we'd go ahead and go live anyhow and maybe do some giveaways and see what's going on in the quail world nowadays. I do have a couple of quick announcements. I'll get to that in a minute. I just want to say that we've got some giveaways that we're going to be doing again tonight. Southwest Game Birds giving us 30 count hatchery choice hatching eggs. 30 count also is coming from Thieving Otter Farms from Rebecca. Hatching Time has donated a $50 gift certificate. That'll be going out to one lucky winner. And I thought I was going to give away a Coturnix Corner Live tumbler, but I don't have any made up. But I did find one of my Gulf Coast Quail tumblers, so I'll go ahead and give one of them away tonight also. So we'll have a few winners. One thing I noticed going on over in the Facebook group page is, hold on, let me turn this mic down a little bit, a little too hot. Over on the Facebook group page, I'm seeing an awful lot of posts, people getting ready for hatching season, springtime coming up. A lot of new cage builds, incubator builds, aviary builds, stuff like that. So it's really good to see, new people getting into it. I'm really excited. Rebecca's in the house. Thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate the eggs for tonight's giveaway. And yeah, it's actually good to be back. But yeah, it's really nice seeing, everybody, they're showing their new cages that they built, new incubators that they've, either bought or built. I'm seeing a lot of requests for reputable breeders. People are asking, where's a good place to get hatching eggs from. So you can kind of tell season's ramping up a little bit. And I'm seeing it here too on the channel. My channel views have skyrocketed in the past probably month and a half. They've almost quadrupled compared to the way they were back in November and December. So, things are picking up really good. And a lot of new people. I'm seeing a whole bunch of new names that, are getting into quail, at least joining the group and asking a bunch of questions and whatnot. So that's pretty exciting to see that going on. Shout out to our sponsors. You guys seen the little 15-second clips here at the beginning. Southwest Game Birds and Hatching Time. They both do a lot for the channel, and I really appreciate everything that they do. Like I say, Hatching Time gives away a $50 gift certificate pretty much every week. And same with Southwest Game Birds. They're always donating eggs and whatnot to give away here on the channel. So it's pretty decent of them to do that. Our moderators, I haven't seen anybody in the house yet tonight, but shout out to Anna Poe from Dirty South Homestead and Amber McLernan. Those ladies help out in the chat room, kind of keep things going smoothly over there and kick out people that want to be idiots, which it does happen. Let's see. All right, speaking of the Facebook group page, I've had to kick out a few people here in the past, I don't know, a week or so, week and a half. When you guys sign up, and most of the people already know this, but when you sign up, one of the things is you have to agree to the rules of the group, and if you break the rules, you get kicked out. And I don't know how many people, either they're not reading the rules or what, but one of the first rules is no sales. There's no live animal sales whatsoever in the group. And if you do, post ads about birds for sale or eggs for sale, first thing we do is boot you out of the group. Either read the rules and follow them, or you're gonna get kicked out. So, and a lot of people aren't even answering all the questions when you go to apply to get in the group. But I don't know. I just wanted to say, if I did get a message earlier about being kicked out of the group, and that's why. I don't know if you're watching or not, but if you can't read the group rules and abide by them, we're just gonna have to kick you out. And I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm not doing it because of some power trip or anything. But Facebook gets really picky about that kind of stuff, and I'm constantly getting warnings from them that the group is in jeopardy because people are selling live animals, people are being rude. I'm trying to think of the terminology that Facebook uses, but it's almost like bullying, and then they don't allow it. So I'm doing it to save the group for everybody else. So let's see what else. Quick shout out to the Coturnix Corner community resource website. If you guys aren't a member of that already, check it out. We got a nice group of people over there that they're always in there. It's kind of like we've got, I don't know, maybe 50 members that are really active over there, helping people out, answering questions, posting questions and whatnot. But yeah, check it out. It's a social media type site, just like Facebook, but it's one of those drama-free type deals. And also part of that website is the Coturnix Corner Farm Market, which is a farm market that you can go to sell your hatching eggs, And if you want to do that, guys, if you want to join the farm market, post your stuff there and then share your ad over on Facebook. That won't get you booted out of Facebook because you're just sharing a link. But that's a way that you can get around the whole selling hatching eggs on the channel. So I think, also Michael Rose has a mentorship program or a coaching program. It's at ccquail.com, and there's a lot of great information there, guys. Check it out. It is a paid site. He's got a couple different courses. One is for basic genetics and getting started in quail, and the other one is more for like the business aspect of it. So, check that out. Very interesting. It's well worth what he's charging per month to access this information. But it's ccquail.com. Okay, I think that's about it for the announcements and whatnot. No special things to sign up or to get on board for the the giveaways tonight. I'm just going to select some people out of the group or out of the chat room. So let me go ahead and jump over in the chat room real quick, and we'll just do some quick. If you have a question, type the letter Q next to your question. That way we can find it. And if it's something that I can't answer, I notice Rebecca's in here. Michael Rose might be watching also. They might be able to chime in and kind of help out a little bit. Okay. Let's see. Ralph Costello's in the house. Says it's 11:58 in the UK. Glad you could join us, Ralph. It says hello from Ralph in South Wales, UK. Joy Guthrie's in the house. Says hello all from Western Oregon. Don Skins in the house says hello from South Mississippi. Glad you could join us, Don. Gary Kiminow, hope I said that right. Hello from Nebraska, everyone. Farron Richards in the house says hello all from Naples, Florida. Farron's just south of me a little bit. Stills and Squeals Barbecue. Oh, that's cool. Sweet tea filled and ready to go. Glad you could join us. Michael Hauser's in the house says hello from O'Fallon, Missouri. Glad you could join us. There's my buddy Del Choo-Choo's in the house. Hello, everyone from Florida. For those of you who don't know, Del Choo-Choo and his family just recently came to the States from Cuba. And he was actually on one of our live streams. Guys, if you can find it, go look it up. I think the title on the live stream was, it's Coturnix Corner Live, but with Del Choo-Choo. And go watch that live stream. The guy's a character. He's got some great information showing us how he does stuff over there in Cuba, where they don't have a whole lot of resources like we have here. So check that video out, or that live stream out. It's really good. Stills and Squeals Barbecue says hello from West Virginia. Laura Bissonette's in the house says greetings from Fairfield, Ohio. Glad you could join us. Mark made it in from the La Rochelle farm. I don't know why I can't say that right the first time, but glad you could join us, Mark. Really appreciate it. He says, let's see if Terry shows up on time. The clock is ticking. Yeah. We try to get in there when we can on time. Magnolia Quail Farm says, hello, everyone from Meridian, Mississippi. Table Knacks in the house says, hello from Ohio. Glad you could join us. Misty Covington's in the house says, hey there, everybody. Del Choo-Choo says, it's awesome. So much has changed in 3 years. It's like being in a different world. Oh, yeah, being in the States. Yeah, absolutely. Hannah Mart's in the house says, hello, long time no see. Yeah, that's one of the reasons, Hannah, I wanted to go live tonight. I didn't have any appointments or testing this week, so I did a little bit of work out in the quail room today. I had to lay some tile in there to finish that work up. And, yeah, I thought, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good today. Let's go ahead and go live. Mark says, glad you and the family are doing well. Oh, he's talking to Del Choo-Choo. Absolutely. Micah Hicks is in the house. Says hello from Louisiana. Travis Hansen says hello, everyone, from the Iron Range of Minnesota. Glad you could join us. Anna Martha says hi from Wisconsin. Dennis Sentner says hi from Massachusetts. Greg Morris is in the house. Says hi from Jackson, Wyoming. Uncle Dude's in the house. Says hello from Bug Tussle, Oklahoma. Bug Tussle. Sounds like an old show I used to watch. Bug Tussle. What show was that on? Stills and Squeals says good evening, Terry. Good evening to you. We got a Facebook user. Oh, that's right. We're streaming on Facebook too. I forgot about that. Happiness is a full incubator. Absolutely. For those of you who are joining us from Facebook, if you go up to the description right underneath the little picture, there's a link in there that you can click on to give Facebook permission to use your name and your little profile icon. Otherwise, I can't see who you are. So if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. Another Facebook user says, howdy from Sacramento. Glad to see you back, Terry. Thank you very much. Linda says hello from upstate New York. Glad you could join us, Linda. Brian Gosney's in the house. Says love watching your videos. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. There will be more videos coming out, guys. Like I said, at the beginning of the year, I did a quick like a year opener video where I said one of my I guess you'd call it resolutions was to get more of a consistent schedule going on releasing videos, and for the live streams, with new guests on the live stream, but something happened. I'm not going to go into that, but something happened where I had some health issues, and things just have been crazy for me the past 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm not giving up on you guys. It's just the most important thing for me right now is to get everything straightened out here, and then we'll start hammering back on the channel and whatnot. But I do have video ideas. I got material and stuff for videos, so as soon as things are back to normal, we'll start getting on it. Angela Metcalf's in the house, says our order of jumbo hatching eggs from Southwest Gamers just shipped out today. Congratulations. I'm sure you'll be impressed when you get your package. Southwest Gamers does an amazing job with their packaging and the eggs. They're decent size eggs, so yeah, you're gonna enjoy them. Del Chuchu says, glad to see you're doing well, Terry. Thank you, Juan. Appreciate that. Jay says, hi from Eastern Kentucky. Glad I can catch a show. Glad you could join us. Leaving Out of Farms in the house. Glad to see you back, Terry. Thanks, Rebecca. Appreciate that. Gary White says, hello, everyone. Don says, our first batch started laying yesterday. Congratulations. Chosen One says, Terry, been watching you for a few months, and by chance you read this, just want to say thanks for your knowledge, because of you, my family is raising beautifully healthy quail. That's good to know. I can't take all the credit. There's a lot of people that join me here on the channel, to help me out on the live streams. People that are a lot more knowledgeable than me, and they share their information. To me, that's what the whole channel is about, is just getting information out there, and I won't say teaching, but informing you guys. My biggest thing that I like doing is the DIY projects. That's just something I like to do. I like building things in my spare time, and then sharing it with you guys. Stills and Squeals says, I have hatching going on right now, 12 in the last 4 hours out of 41. Congratulations. I do too. Right behind me, I don't know if you guys can see it. Right behind me is a Lumia 16. It's full of eggs that are hatching out. They actually started hatching out today. Oh, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. I hope all you ladies got, something decent for Valentine's Day. I forgot all about it being the 14th. See, Jose says, hello from Massachusetts. Love your show. Thanks, Jose. Glad you could join us. Keith's in the house. Says, hello from Cincinnati, Ohio. No, Chuchu says, drop a like. Yeah, you guys want to hit the thumbs up. That kind of helps us out on the channel a little bit. I appreciate it. Samantha says, hello from Michigan. Glad you're back. It's good to be back, Samantha. Thanks for joining us. Wow, Kasewin 127, sorry if I butchered that. My first ever batch of eggs just hatched today, so excited. Cool, congratulations. Table Knack says, I've had city chickens for several years. My flock of 30 is down to 15 thanks to a fox family. Ooh. Brand new to quails, thinking they might be the birds for me. I did the same thing. I started out, for years and years, actually decades, I've always had chickens, backyard chickens. And I wanted to get into something a little bit smaller, thinking that I could get away with keeping more, because right now I'm only allowed, or if I was to keep chickens, we're only allowed to keep 4 and no roosters. So I went and tried a smaller chicken. I went with Silkies, and thinking that I could get away with a rooster, maybe they were quieter, and I found out they are absolutely not any quieter. But then I started looking around, and I stumbled across Coturnix, and it's been Coturnix ever since. So, and I'm kind of glad I did. I kind of really enjoy the Coturnix more than I ever did the chickens. Facebook user says, good evening from Northwest Florida. Glad you could join us, whoever you are. Travis Hansen says, we will be moving out birds from our indoor aviary to their layer cages in the next few weeks, but looking at sub-zero temps coming back in later this week. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to worry about temperatures. I'm down in Florida, but I know a lot of people up north that, they keep their birds outside year-round, and they don't really have any issues, with the cold weather. As long as your birds can, get out of the direct weather, rain, snow, whatever, I think they'll be fine. Facebook user says hello from Roswell, New Mexico. Me and my dad just got into Coturnix quail. We love the hobby. Cool. I'm sure you'll love it. It's very enjoyable, and it's rewarding too. I mean, the nice thing about it, and I think this is the reason a lot of people get into Coturnix and stick with them, is because the turnover is so fast. You know, it's not. I mean, within 8 weeks, you can have a bird hatch out of an egg and be laying eggs already after 8 weeks, and then every 8 weeks after that, be hatching out more and more birds. So, or not every 8 weeks after that, but every 14 days after that, 2 weeks. So yeah, it's great. JJ Willow says hello from Ohio. Glad you could join us, JJ. Why, tell her everyone. Oh, hello everyone. I'm a new breeder from Detroit, waiting on my eggs to hatch. Cool. Congratulations. I like that name. Why tell her? Jeff Gouldy says hello from Western Nebraska. Glad you could join us, Jeff. Facebook user says hello from Idaho. Patricia says, just joined, looking forward to getting my quail this year. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it, Patricia. Like I said earlier, I'm really seeing the interest in quail start to peak right now. I mean, spring's coming up. Everybody's getting spring fever. People are going to be hatching out tons and tons of eggs, to get going. But yeah, we kind of see it around this time of year. We always see the activity really start to pick up, on the channel here and on the Facebook group. People reaching out, wanting, hatching eggs, asking questions about getting their incubator going and what works best, stuff like that. So yeah, it's that time of year. Julie says hello from Wyoming. Glad you could join us, Julie. Mystical Cat says, hi all. We just got our first sets of quail from a local person. We also purchased supplies from Hatching Time. Good. Glad you could join us. Congratulations on the quail. Keith says, this will be my first year getting cages ready. Congratulations on that, Keith. Salvador's in the house. Says, hi, Terry and everyone from Puerto Rico. Glad you could join us, buddy. Good seeing you again. Micah says, getting my first quail this weekend. Congratulations. Jennifer says hello from East Tennessee. Courtney's in the house. Says hello. Hatched some quail a couple months ago and just started getting some eggs. I'm so excited to hatch even more. Yeah, I get excited too. I mean, every time I put eggs into lockdown, it's always exciting seeing the birds, the chicks start to hatch out. The Chosen One says, Minnesota sends its love. Glad you could join us. Why tell her says Hatching Time cages too. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've got a Hatching Time cage sitting in a box, not even opened yet. I still got to put it together, but I'm trying to get my flooring and stuff done out there first. Michael Bell says, do two jumbo quail eggs equal one chicken egg? I think it's more like 3, and that's what I go by when I'm like making breakfast or something. On average, I have 10 eggs a day, which I figure is like 3 chicken eggs. So, yeah, I mean 2 could be close, but I think 3 is actually a little bit closer. Carol Williams says hello from the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Glad you could join us, Carol. Facebook user says nice. Facebook user says hello. Facebook user says hi from Idaho. Glad you could join us. Lorenza says hi. Hello. Another Facebook user says hey from Vancouver, Washington. Glad you could join us. Facebook user here from Fort Pierce, Florida. Glad you could join us. Facebook user says me. I don't know who you are, me, because I can't see your name. If you want to show us who you are, you have to go up to the link up at the top of the window and give Facebook permission to, or in the description of this video that you're watching. Cam says, how do I determine the most efficient cycle for hatching, breeding, and butchering to ensure that I always have a steady supply of meat and eggs? I just completed building our first quail cage today. Okay, congratulations on the cage. That's a little bit tricky. It's going to depend on the number of eggs that you want to produce, the number of birds that you want to have available for butchering. so that you always have a steady supply of meat and eggs. Yeah. Are you going to be, is this just for you and your family? Are you going to be selling eggs and selling meat? It's all going to determine, basically what your end goal is, as far as the usage of the meat and the eggs. But what I would suggest is start out a little bit slow and work your way into it. Don't get overwhelmed with, growing out 300-400 birds, thinking that, okay, I'm going to butcher this many, I'm going to need this many eggs, because it does get overwhelming. I mean, I've only got, like 300 birds out in my quail room, and sometimes, between cleaning and feeding and buying food and all that, I won't say it's overwhelming because I got like a little routine down, but I can see how it would get overwhelming. Metatron, Herald of the Almighty, says, "Oh, really?" Yep. Oh, really? Michael House says, "Oh, it's Michael Bell. It's closer to 3-1 or 4-1." I think talking about eggs. Facebook user says, "What's the best feed in winter for mature birds?" My adult birds all get a 16% layer formula. If you're worried about maybe like in the wintertime the bird's producing a little bit more heat, maybe add a little bit more corn to it or grain. It's gonna help them build up body heat, trying to digest that. So that's a good question for Rebecca of Thieving Otter Farms, because she deals with the cold up there in Tennessee in the wintertime too. So Rebecca, if you want to chime in on that, I would appreciate it. Facebook user says, question best breeder cage brand. To be honest with you, to me, the best breeder cage is the cage that you built that's going to work for your situation. If you're wanting a commercially produced cage, there's several commercial companies out there. I always recommend Hatching Time, one, because I do use their cages, and because they help the channel out. But Winola Ranch is another company that produces all wire cages. There's some cages here on the channel, videos that we show you how to build either wood frame cages that are wrapped in wire, or all wire cages. We've got grow out cages, layer cages. So check them out. To me, I like to save money. I always look at the cheapest way I can do stuff. If I can build something cheaper than I can buy it, I'm going to build it. And like my all wire cages, I have 5 3-tier sets of cages, so 15 cages total that I built for the cost of one commercially produced cage, if that gives you any idea. So to me, that's the best way to go. Grind 3, hi from Florida. Glad you could join us. Not talking to me. Mika says, thanks for all the info, Terry. Built my cages last week. Cool, congratulations. C. Spencer's in the house. Says hello from Virginia. Hate 'em Outdoors says, what's going on, man? Northwest Florida Panhandle. Cool, glad you could join us. Will Braidfoot says, thanks, love your videos. Absolutely. Sheldon Maddox in the house says hello from Ontario, Canada. Glad you could join us, Sheldon. Stacy says hello from San Antonio. Another Facebook user in the house. Hello from South Carolina. Another Facebook user. Hello from Las Vegas. Snowed for 10 minutes here today. Wow. That's pretty crazy. Braden says, super excited for the show. Glad you could join us, Braden. Facebook user says, hi, Terry from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Hello, and thanks for joining us. Another Facebook user says, I'm in North Carolina. Facebook user says, questions. How many quail do you recommend having before beginning to sell? That, again, is going to depend on your market. If you're just going to be selling locally, again, I would say start out small because you can always increase in numbers. If you start out too big and you don't have an outlet for, say your eggs or your birds, whatever you're selling, that's either going to be more time that you have to feed those birds, or more eggs that you've got to figure out, what can I do with them? Give them away. I actually ran into that issue when I first started out, thinking that I had more of a market down here. This is years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was breeding, and I kid you not, guys, I was collecting a 5-gallon bucket of eggs a day. And my problem I ran into is I didn't have an outlet for them. So a lot of the eggs got trashed. I mean, I'm like, I don't want to hatch out all these eggs. So yeah, they ended up going in the garbage. So I would recommend, starting out slow until you figure out what kind of a market you have, and then you can always increase. It's as fast as quail mature and as fast as they reproduce. It doesn't take long to build your numbers up to where you want them. Will says hello from Alabama. Glad you could join us. WR says, hey everyone from Delaware, ready to learn. Glad you could join us. Mystical Cats in the house says hello from East Texas. Facebook user says, what is a really good heat source for your incubator? I made one out of wood. Turned out very nice, but it's hard to keep light bulbs in there. Thanks in advance. On the DIY incubators that we build here on the channel, I recommend using, if you can find incandescent bulbs, use 60-watt incandescents. If not, and I can't find the incandescents either, I use 75-watt halogen bulbs. With that said, that's what I use. And the reason I prefer the lights is because I can actually tell that the incubator's working. I see the lights, cycling on and off, so I know that my incubator's working. You can also use those ceramic reptile heaters. They're little black reptile heaters. They screw right into just a regular light bulb socket, and those work good once they're up to temperature. It does take them a little bit longer to get heated up, but once they're up to temperature, the nice thing about those is they actually hold the heat longer than an incandescent or a halogen bulb would. Some people have tried, and I've even tried it, and I don't think I have it in here. It's a resistive heating element, which is basically it's got wire that goes back and forth. It's kind of like what they use on an automotive heater. They're 120 volt and they heat up. I actually tried some of those in an incubator that I'm trying to get working for another video. But the problem with it is it gets too hot. And it's not that the whole incubator gets too hot, but that the heating elements itself gets hot. So hot that, one, it dries out the air, and two, the top part of the incubator is a lot warmer than the bottom. It's just, you can't get enough circulation, and if you do get enough circulation, it dries all your humidity out. So I don't really recommend those. I haven't had any luck with them. I do know that Incubator Warehouse sells a 100-watt heating element. It's just a little round horseshoe-shaped heating element. Really cheap. I think it's like 10 or 12 bucks. That works really good if you have 120 volts coming to it. So those work really nice. Thurston's in the house says hello everyone. And I didn't mean to drag that answer out so long, but it's really, with the incubators, there's so much so many things that you can do that will affect how well your incubator works. And believe me, I've been through all of it with all my DIY incubators and even some of my commercial incubators. I've had to make changes to them to get them to work the way I want them to. So, Magnolia Quail Farm says, I saw the sales post and had wondered if you had changed the rules. Glad you didn't. Yeah, well, the post, if you're talking about on the Facebook group page, there is no selling on the Facebook group page. You can post over on Coturnix Corner Farm Market and then share the link to that post over on Facebook, and you'll be fine with that. Kelly's in the house says hello from Arkansas. Glad you could join us, Kelly. Barbara says hello from just north of San Antonio. Glad you could join us, Barbara. Uncle Dude says, questions. What am I doing wrong? Out of the 100 eggs that I incubated, only 98 hatched on time. The other 2 didn't hatch for 2 days. If you had 98 hatch out of 100 on time, I wouldn't even worry about the other 2. Anything that could have been anything. The other 2 could have got a slow start. Could have been weaker chicks. It took a little bit longer for them to, build up enough strength to actually hatch out. They may have pipped, just not hatched out. But if you hatch 98 out of 100, knock on wood, because you're doing really good. Jonathan says, question, do you add any additives to your adult water reservoir? I do during the summer months when it's really warm, and by really warm, once my shop gets up to around 90 degrees, or over 85, we'll say, between 85 and 90, I will start adding electrolytes to the water. I use, it's a vitamin and electrolyte supplement by Dervet, and I'll do that maybe twice a week just to make sure that my birds are getting enough electrolytes. What I do when I see my birds panting a lot during the summer months, I figure, they're trying to stay cool, so I'll give them the electrolytes to help, kind of help them out a little bit. Let's see. JJ says, question, I'm a newbie. Do those in Ohio have to worry about the derailed chemical train affecting the outside quail? Should they be brought inside? Okay, if you're close enough to that train to where you can, I don't know if you can smell the chemicals or what, but if you can smell it, or if they're evacuating you from the area, I would definitely get your quail away from that. And the reason I say that is quail are very susceptible to stuff like that. I actually had a buddy of mine, and this actually happened to me, a buddy of mine that I gave his granddaughter a bunch of quail. They hatched them out and had them in a brooder inside, but they took the quail outdoors when they were like 4 weeks old, 3 or 4 weeks old, put them in a cage that I actually built for them. And he went up there and was helping them burn some brush in their backyard. And the brush that they were burning was pepper. The pepper trees that grow down here in Florida. I can't remember what the full name of it is. But anyhow, those trees are toxic. And just the fumes alone from that blowing from where they were burning on one side of the yard blew past the quail cage, I guess got in the quail cage, actually killed off a whole bunch of their birds. And I had the same thing happen to me. My aviary's right out back next to my privacy fence. On the other side of my privacy fence, my neighbor had a big bonfire going, did the same thing, burning some of that Brazilian pepper, that's what it's called. And I lost a few birds from that also. So, yeah, I know they can be susceptible to chemicals in the air that could affect them. There I go, dragging on these stories again. Sorry about that, guys. Stills and Squeals says, Terry, my name is Stills, and my Squeals is my Kansas City KCBS barbecue team name that comes from Moonshine Stills and Pig Squeals. Okay, cool. I'm a head master distiller at a local distillery. Very cool. John says, hello from Georgia. Glad you could join us, John. Jennifer says, question, my 4 quails are laying eggs. My questions is why? Why do they lay eggs? Maybe they're hens. I don't know what the rest of your question is, Jennifer. Is why do I wish I could figure that one out. Hopefully I'll come up to your follow-up on that. John says, hello from Jacksonville, Florida. Glad you could join us. Magnolia Quail Farm says, I'm incubating eggs from Thieving Otter Farm and Southwest Game Birds. Can't wait till hatch day. Yeah, I'm sure you'll be surprised. I mean, both have some excellent bloodlines. Facebook user says, Skip from Coyote Meadows Farm, California. Glad you could join us. Hannah Mars says, glad you're feeling good, Terry. Thanks. Yeah, it's nice to... And I really haven't been feeling all that bad. It's just... I got some reports from the doctor and the hospital that were, definitely things that I need to be taking care of. So that's what I'm working on now. And that's why I kind of put the live streams on hold, because I've got a lot of testing and stuff going on. And, I need to concentrate on that before I worry about, Facebook and YouTube. Facebook user says, hey, nice to see you. Okay, Jennifer says they are not fertile. So let's go back to your first part of your question. My 4 quail are laying eggs. My question is, why are the eggs not fertile? It could be that they're new layers. And do you have a rooster in with them that is actually breeding with them? You want to check your rooster vents, like your vent sexing. Just check and make sure that he's producing foam. and make sure that when he's mounting the hens that he's actually inseminating the hens. Sometimes it takes the roosters, a few weeks to get their technique down, to where they're actually doing what they need to be. I wouldn't worry about it right now. If it continues on, if you're not getting fertile eggs within 2 or 3 weeks, maybe try a different rooster if you have one. Could be something stressing the hens out too, to where they're not allowing that rooster to breed with them. There's a few things that it could be, but the first thing I would think was you probably got an inexperienced rooster, and he might not be fully sexually mature yet to where he's producing foam and inseminating the hens. So Lorenzo says hi from Ohio. Mystical Cat says, I watched some of your videos, just subscribed today. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys aren't subscribers of Coturnix Corner, do that if you don't mind. Kind of helps me out with numbers. It also will give you notifications, especially if you hit that notification bell for any new videos that pop up. Table Nexus questions: what's the 3 best tips you can give someone brand new to quail but experienced with other poultry? I would say, the biggest thing I think is start slow. Don't go, all out, and spend a whole bunch of money on caging and supplies and birds and hatching eggs and whatnot. Start out slow, work your way into it. One, to see first if you like it. You might not even like doing quail, because they can be kind of a challenge when it comes to the smell. That would be my biggest tip, is to start out slow. Next would be when buying your hatching eggs, get them from a reputable breeder. I see so many scammers online trying to get people's money, and we try to delete them as fast as we see them on the Facebook group page. But go with somebody that comes highly recommended. And right off the top of my head, Southwest Game Birds to me is right up there. Kansas City Quail, Thieving Otter Farm. We have a AJ Farms LLC. All great people. We have a video that I just recently did. It's right up with one of the top recent videos. My recommended breeder list for 2023. Watch that video. A lot of great guys in there. And probably the third tip that I would give out: don't believe everything that you read or see, whether it's coming from, I'm not going to mention any names, but whether it's coming from a source that you think might be reputable, because I see so much false information out there, and I hear it from the people that I know. These are people that I've had on the show, and in my eyes, these are experts, and they're like, why do I have to keep, setting the record straight? There's so much false information out there, or bad information, I'll say. So watch that. Again, with the tips: start slow, buy your equipment and your gear from reputable breeders, and be careful what you're taking as gospel online, because there's so much garbage out there. Facebook user says, where is it? If you're talking about the link, go directly up where the picture is above the video, and you'll see where it says join us tonight or something like that. You should see a link under there. Let's see. Not talking to me. Dixie Living Homestead, Petticoat Junction. That's where I heard it. I knew it was a show that I've seen before. Old Bug Tussle. Jerry's in the house. Says hello from Roswell, New Mexico. Facebook user says hello from Mountain Home, Idaho. Chase says, questions: how's your aviary doing? It's doing really well. I do have birds back out there now. I got it all. The hurricane blew it off its foundation. I got it all straightened back out. Got it filled with some fresh deep litter, and I do have some grow outs out there growing. So Michael's in the house, says glad to see you're up and strong, Terry. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. Facebook user says hello from Coyote Meadows Farms, California. Glad you could join us. Where in Florida are you? I'm in the Fort Myers area. Mark says, okay, I need to head out to the barn. Glad you're doing better, Terry. Have a great night. You too, Mark. Thanks for joining us tonight, and I'll see you when you come down to Florida. JJ Willis says, talking to, thank you, Keith, about 150 miles. Okay, from the chemical spill. Courtney says, happy Valentine's Day. Same to you, Courtney. I read that one already. Julie says, just got 99 hatching eggs from Southwest Game Birds in the incubator, and my hatching time brooders came today. Woo! My Valentine's present. Very cool. See, Elizabeth says, hi from Newbury, West Berkshire, UK. Thanks for the educations. Not bought a store egg for 2 years since we had Quail. Congratulations. And especially today with the price of eggs being unbelievably high. I don't even eat chicken eggs anymore. My wife still does. I love the Quail eggs. I use it for, not only eating, but, baking or whatever, we might do. Only way to do it. Gunner's Mate says, I got 11 eggs today. Most so far 4 months into Quail. Thanks for all the help. Cool. Oh, you got 11 eggs laid today. Cool. Congratulations. It's nice when the hens start producing. Table Knack says, I've got some beautiful potted roses for today, and I told I could get more chickens for my birthday. LOL, my husband knows me well. I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook, the memes going around about, getting chickens and whatnot, or quail for Valentine's Day. So, yeah, that's cool. Hannah says, questions, when do you butcher large amounts? How do you fit them in your fridge for 24 hours? Oh, when you butcher large amounts, how do you fit them in your fridge for 24 hours? For the most part, when I'm butchering, more than, say 25 to 50 birds, those I'll usually, once they're cleaned up, my wife we separate the legs from the breast and bag them up separately. And they usually go straight into the freezer. Unless we plan on eating them within the next couple days, or eating some within the next couple days, then they'll go in the refrigerator in a brine, which is, it's not really a brine, it's Italian dressing. I soak my birds in Italian dressing. Adds flavor, and I do that for about 24 hours just to let the rigor mortis, subside a little bit. But yeah, I mean, if I'm butchering them just to go in the freezer, we just butcher, wash, clean, bag them in the freezer. Let's see. Mika says, expanding our chicken flock this year and starting with quail. Cool. Julie's in the house as well. I was not expecting this. My first subscription to Thieving Otter Farms is hatching today. Very cool. That's right. Thieving Otter Farms has, and this is the first time I ever heard of anybody doing something like this. They have a little subscription thing to where you can get eggs delivered to you at whatever, time frame you want, whether it's monthly, quarterly, twice a year or yearly. And I think that's a really good little sales tactic, especially with, Rebecca's got some very nice colored birds. She's got a really nice black line. Rebecca is also very good at her culling procedures, to where, she's really strict about what she keeps and breeds. So when you get your eggs, you're going to hatch out some decent quality stock. Let's see. David says, thanks for watching your watering system. We set ours up this weekend. It was one of the few projects my wife and I did together without an argument. Cool. Glad you got it together and it's working all right. Facebook user says, I went from minus 25 to 45 and still laying. Cool. Congratulations. Perlin Barker says, I'm new from Lincolnton, Georgia. I just locked down 28 out of 30. Can't wait to welcome my 2 chicks. Cool. Congratulations. Hope you get a good hatch. Facebook user, just got my first eggs from Thieving Otter Farm, and I can't wait for them to hatch. Cool. Like I say, you'll be very pleased with, if you get a good hatch rate, I know you'll be pleased with the birds that you get from Rebecca. Stacy says, 3 weeks in the brooder now for our first hatching this year. Cool. Congratulations. Hopefully you'll get a whole bunch of hens and the right number of roosters. Gary says, howdy from South Point, Ohio. Howdy, Gary. Glad you could join us. Getting our quail in 2 weeks. Cool. Congratulations. Pat says, hi from Wisconsin. Glad you could join us, Pat. Facebook user says, hatched out our first batch from our own quail. That's always nice when you hatch out some eggs, you grow them up, they start laying. That's a good time too when they start laying. But then when you collect your own eggs and throw them in the incubator and hatch out, yeah, it's a great feeling. Stephanie says hello from Texas. Glad you could join us, Stephanie. Travis says, we just keep our birds 120 in the aviary in the garage due to being able to have 2 heated waterers versus fighting with 18 individual cage waterers. Just ease of use for us. Yeah, I mean, whatever way you want to set them up. Like I say, I do both. I have, an aviary out back, and I also have my caging system in here. The caging system for me works better for like breeding programs and whatnot, stuff that I couldn't do in the aviary. But the aviary is, it's a lot less work, and also it's more enjoyable. I mean, I can go sit in the aviary in the morning and have my coffee and sit out there and watch the birds, decide which ones are going to stay, which ones are going to go. So, yeah. Red Hot Mama says, happy you're feeling better. Thank you much. Julie says, we're finally going to start our incubator from your instructions. Cool. Julie, if you have any questions, once you get it done, let me know. But like I tell most people, if you follow the directions in the video, for the most part, you're going to have a successful working incubator. It seems like most of the people that approach me with issues are people that have tried to modify the incubator a little bit. And I'm all about modifying. If you want to change it up a little bit, go for it. But if you do, you may have to do some testing on your own. The way the incubator is built now is I tested it probably for a good 6 or 7 months prior to even releasing that video to the public. So, it's to me, it's a proven design, and a lot of other people have proved that also. Ralph says, anyone from the UK? I think we saw a few other users in here. Facebook user, how old do the quails have to be to make fertilized eggs? What's the earliest age of parent quails? I mean, once your hens start laying, they can potentially produce an egg if they are with a rooster that's fertile and he's successfully been mating with them. But for the most part, I'm going to say between 8 and 10 weeks. Normally what I'll do is once my birds start laying, I won't even collect eggs from them to incubate, probably for 2 to 3 weeks. I like to let the hens get their eggs, stabilized, and by stabilized I mean a consistent uniformity, in size. A lot of times they'll be smaller eggs. You might even get eggs that don't even have a shell on them. But yeah, right around between 8 and 10 weeks. If you've got a rooster that's doing his job, you should be able to collect eggs and get, a fertile egg to where you can hatch them out. Chase says, Gary, you can harvest quail eggs. Oh, there. Okay, he's answering that. Michelle says, hey, glad you could join us. Haven't seen you around in a while. I'm talking about me. Gary says, talking to somebody else. Dennis says, hey, Terry, getting back into it. Always raised Bob White for the setters. Bought one of the hatching time breeding cage, nice cage. Also built one of your build, came out well, will build more. Cool. Yeah, I like the hatching time cage. I mean, my hatching time cages are used as breeder cages where I'm doing my individual breeding projects. And my other cages, I kind of changed my other cages up. They used to all have dividers down the middle. I actually took those dividers out just so I can keep a larger covey in each cage for producing eggs, for hatching egg sales. I didn't really need to separate them that much, but yeah, that's the point behind that. Julie says, don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, you guys can hit the like button. Got 79 likes already. Don says, starting on a new brooder, it will be 2 foot by 3 foot with vinyl covered hardware cloth on the bottom. That would work. I would recommend, I've seen some people try to use quarter by quarter hardware cloth. you're not going to want that for a brooder. Half by half is going to do you right. I'm actually using half by one in my grow outs, and my birds go into the grow out pens at about 2.5 weeks old, almost 3 weeks old, depending on the temperature. But yeah, the half inch coated will work perfect for you. It's going to allow all the manure to drop through. So Farron says, when do you think is the best time to butcher your birds? I like to butcher between 8 and 10 weeks. For the most part, probably closer to 8 weeks for when I know I'm butchering up a bunch of roos. But if I have birds that I'm holding back and I think, I might keep them, but then they fail to turn out the way I want them, then I'll, go to 10 weeks. I mean, you can go longer than that, but I've had people tell me that, quail meat doesn't get tough after, 6 months or a year or whatever. And to me, it's got a little bit different texture, but it's also got a little bit different flavor. And I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I prefer younger birds, like right around 8 weeks. That to me is the perfect eating age. Rudy says, my quail I hatched from Gopher Ridge are a week old today, 75% hatch rate. Cool, congratulations. Yeah, HP's got some great birds also. I also get really good hatch rates from him. Hannah says, anyone have allergies to the chicks? I keep my chicks in the house for the first 3 days to check on, and I have been having allergy symptoms. Strange. I haven't really noticed it with young chicks, but I do notice that once that the chicks start releasing that down, it's kind of like a prenatal molt that they're going through, and they're losing that downy stuff. It'll make my eyes water and stuff, and that's why I do the fan with the box filter on it, or the box fan with the filter on it, because that always picks up all that downy material and really small feathers and stuff. But yeah, I've had days where I walked out in my shop and get watery eyes and runny nose and whatnot. So I don't think it's not enough to keep me out of the shop, but I do like to filter the air. That way I know I'm not breathing all that stuff in. Clinton's in the house. This is Abram Homestead from Tennessee. Hello, everyone. Glad you could join us, Clinton. Toxic Night Box. What's y'all's thoughts on crossing jumbo whites over celadons? I'm wanting jumbo all-white quail that's a blue egg layer. Yeah, you can do that. I've never done celadon, so I can't give you any advice on that, but if I'm not mistaken, any color Coturnix can be celadon layers. So. Facebook user says Billy Dyer from Idaho. It acts like I'm invisible. Yeah, you got to give the app or Facebook permission to use the app. Let me look at that real quick just so I can tell you guys what it says. Oh, wow. You know what, guys? It doesn't say it. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's my link. Sorry about that. Huh. I'm not seeing it either. Oh, yeah, it is. It says at the top description, it says giveaways, live Q&A, and then underneath that it says I'm broadcasting with Ecamm Live. Interact with the broadcast by granting Ecamm Live permission to use your name, and then it's got a link. Huh. Zomari's in the house. Good evening, everyone. I got my first set of my own eggs in the incubator. So excited. Congratulations. Good luck on the hatch. Not talking to me. Hannah says, can you please explain to me what is considered a battery cage and what is the limit when it's not considered one? To me, that's going to be subjective. What I would consider a battery cage is, cages like the hatching time cages, when you have the individual units, that each unit would be a battery. You could put a separate breeding group in there. In my eyes, a cage that's not a battery cage would be something a little bit open. Like I just said, I opened up all my wire cages, took out the center divider to make the cages bigger. That's more of a group breeding cage in my eyes. But Yeah, the battery cages I think is something that's smaller, that you might keep like a 1-to-5 ratio in, or even smaller than that, 1-to-3. And a cage that's more of a breeding cage would be something like I keep up to 18 birds in each one of my full-size cages, but I usually will do like a 2 to 13 to have 15 total birds, or I can do 3 to 18 sometimes. So yeah, I don't think, I don't know if there's really a certain size that they consider battery cages. If you were to look at like a really commercialized, poultry setting, they've got cages that, there's just single birds in each one of the cages. To me, that's a really battery type cage setup. So, yeah, I don't know. Mika says, we've been considering our farm name. How does Hicks Flag and Fowl Farmstead sound? Sounds good to me. Let's see. Facebook user says, I took your advice. I ordered 50 hatching eggs from Southwest Game Birds. Incredible service and delivery. Awesome. They hatched this past January. 90% plus hatch rate. Wow, congratulations. I'm so happy. I will always order in the future from Southwest. Wayne. Very impressive hatch rate. 90% on shipped eggs, you can't go wrong with that. If I get 50% hatch on shipped eggs, I'm happy. So even lower than that. I've had hatch rates as low as 30%, and I was still happy with it because I know that I'm getting the bloodlines that I want. I know I'm getting quality stock when I order. The people that I order from, I know they produce quality stock. Dale's in the house, says, I'm looking forward to tonight's talk. Glad you could join us. Carmel says, hi from California. Not talking to me. Animal Games says, I've been keeping quail for 3 years and just got some hatching eggs from my Shire farm. Congratulations. Good luck on your hatch. Sundial Fragrance Sniff Recommendations. Hello from Texas. How are you, Terry? I'm doing okay. I don't want you guys to, worry that my health is, I'm not going to die tonight, or I'm not going to die, hopefully not in the near future. But I do have some health issues that need attention right now. I need to take care of it. Jan says, hope you're feeling better, Terry from Iowa. I am, and glad you could join us. Dale says hello from South Louisiana. Glad you could join us, Dale. Hannah says, the more birds, the more the meals. The more the birds, the more the meals, yeah. Blue Duh says, howdy from STX. I think that's South Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Jeff says, Skycross Quail Farm, East Tennessee. Hello, Terry. Thankful for what you're providing for us. Absolutely. It's not just me, guys. There's a lot of people that put into this channel. When we do live streams and we have guests, the reason the guests come on here is because they have knowledge that I believe needs to be put out there. So, yeah, that's why we do it. But anyhow, thank you, and I appreciate that. Ryan says, thanks, Terry, for all the videos on getting started raising quail. I'm in South Mississippi. Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, Brian. Blue Does says, it's hatch day for my jumbo browns from Southwest Game Birds. Cool. Congratulations. Seems like we get a lot of people that time the Valentine's Day hatch. I got some hatching, about half of the eggs hatched already this morning. I'm hoping the rest of them hatch tonight. Hannah says, I'm actually considering getting pigs this year, so I figured I can feed them the quail eggs or my Cornish hen broilers. Cool. I wish I had enough room to raise some hogs. Kurt says, hit the thumbs up like button because what's not to like? Hello from Minnesota. Thanks, Kurt. Appreciate that. Grit says, how many quail do you have in each cage with hatching time? In my hatching time cages, I took out all the dividers. And for those of you who don't know, hatching time, all their cages from this point forward, all the dividers are going to be removable dividers. You'll no longer get the solid walls. So you'll be able to just, if you want one cage open or all three of them open, you can pull the dividers. But for the most part, I'll put usually a 1-to-8 or a 2-to-10 ratio in there. It all depends. Some of my standard size birds I can pack in a little bit tighter, but my jumbos, I like to give them a little bit more room. So, Yeah. Yeah, I don't really pack them out, and I don't know if Hatching Time has adjusted what they had on their website. I know I recommended that they lower the numbers that they had that you could fit in there, but I think with Hatching Time they were talking about smaller quail, standard size quail. For those of you who don't know the story behind Hatching Time, they're originally produced in Turkey. And the quail over there in the Middle East are a lot smaller than the quail here in the States. That's why some of the people that have like the Hatching Time incubators or even the culling table notice that the cones are smaller on the culling table. It's because they got smaller birds over there. And the quail rails that fit into the incubator are smaller. They'll hold, a 14-gram egg fits decent in there. But if you start getting eggs from like Southwest game birds to where these eggs are getting bigger and beefier, it's hard to get them in those smaller things. But anyhow, yeah, I think Hatching Time designed a lot of their stuff for smaller quail. So, but we're working on getting the jumbo line in. Matter of fact, I talked to Yagis just the other day on a conference call, and they were asking me about the egg inserts for their trays. They're actually designing another one to fit jumbo eggs. So. Ralph says, okay, it's 12:30, I'm off and all. Okay, thanks for joining us, Ralph. Appreciate you taking the time to check in. Yud says, my second batch hatched today. Congratulations. JJ Willow says, we don't even know if we like to eat quail yet. LOL, too new. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. I think they're excellent. Sundial says, sorry I misspelled your name. No problem. I knew what you meant. Yud says 12 out of 33 so far. Cool. Congratulations. Facebook user says, hello from Ben Davis, Missouri. I've been pushing quail as fast egg layers for those that need eggs before their chickens start. There you go. Brandon says, questions. I tried the method for breeding the quail by not keeping the males in at all times and putting the male in there for 30 minutes. Fertility on my eggs were super low after a test hatch. Why? Try putting the male in. 30 minutes, that's short. You need to put them in. I put them in there for a day. I'll put him in there. I'll make sure that, watch the rooster, make sure that he's going around servicing the hens. And then also do it like every third day. Put the rooster in there. I'm using that exact same technique, and I'm getting 80, 90% hatch rates and fertility rates. So leave them in there longer. I would, if you're gonna put a rooster in there, put him in there, let him have the bulk of the day, most of the day, then pull him out, give him a day off, then put him in another cage and go that route. JJ Willow says, wondering what homemade noodles and quail would taste like, or quail and dumplings. I imagine pretty good. Sounds good to me. Don says, hello from Mid-Willamette Valley, Oregon. Building your incubator and wire cages, looking for some local breeders, growers, if you have any suggestions. Closest commercial one is Southwest Game Birds. I was going to recommend Southwest Game Birds. From Arizona to Oregon, that's not that big of a deal shipping. Check around down at some of your feed stores. Find out, if they've got people coming in that's buying up, game bird starter or whatnot. And like our feed store, they got one of them cork boards where you can put your business card. I always see, different farms and stuff on there. So, yeah, check them out. Tony's in the house. Says hi from Toronto. Glad you could join us, Tony. Actually, let me get back on my other page here. Okay, cool. Brian Saints in the house. Says hi, Brian. Oh, hi, Brian from NOLA. Glad you could join us, Brian. Facebook user Justin Hendricks. Hello from Vale, Oregon. Meeps is in the house. Says hello, Terry. Long time no see. I'm 2 weeks into raising my quail, and surprisingly, the hard time isn't raising them. It's my dog. She won't stop barking and whining around them. Yeah, I hear you. My dog, he's pretty much used to them now, but he'd go outside in the backyard by the aviary, and he'd want to point at them, and just all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm sure they'll get used to it. Facebook users, hello Terry, up the street in Lakeland. Okay, cool. Raised my first bob whites in 1960, still learning. Yeah, it is a learning experience. I've never done bob whites. I hatched them out one time for a guy north of me that wanted to use them for training his dogs, but I've never actually kept them to breed. Grind says I made quail noodle soup this week. Cool. Okay, not talking to me. Facebook user says hello from Southwest Virginia. Dale says, I see your guitar on the wall. I play a bass. Cool. If we can find a drummer in this group, we can start a Coturnix Corner band when you're ready. Yeah, that would be fun. The guitar spends more time hanging there. I do have an acoustic that I pick up every once in a while, but I need to get that thing down and do a little playing with it. Uncle Deuce, I was just funny with you. I didn't get 98 out of 100, but my last hatch was 80. Still, 80% is a good hatch. Irene says, our well recently tested high for arsenic above EPA recommendations. I'm installing a filtration, but what about the quail sensitivity to the arsenic in the water? I would definitely, if it's definitely in the water, tested positive for it, I would come up with, like you say, a filtration system that's going to get it out. Otherwise, I'd hate to say, buy water to bring in, but, and depending on how many birds you have, but yeah, definitely get it on some type of filtration system to get that out. Have they been on that water for a while now and it hasn't been bothering them? Maybe quail aren't, subject to the arsenic, or it's not in high enough, concentration to where it's going to hurt them. But I would definitely, do something about it. Hannah says, I've never thought about the chemicals. I just put my burn barrel right next to my aviator. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, be careful with it, especially if the wind's blowing the smoke towards your aviary. Facebook user says, hi Terry, you are a wealth of quail knowledge. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Brian says hi from Richton, Mississippi. Jeff's in the house says hi from Louisiana. What time is it? 8:15. Michael says hello from Grandview, Missouri. Glad you could join us. Andy Rabbit says, I like your stories, Terry. Yeah, but sometimes once I get going, I don't shut up. Sometimes I need to. JJ Willow says, I was hoping that my dog will take on a motherly mode towards quail and stop chasing the beautiful doves that visit. Yeah, my big dog, he's getting better, but our little poodles, if I have a quail that gets out in my shop, the poodles seem to find them really quick. I'll walk out in the shop and not even see them, but the poodles, they'll get right up on top of them, not hurt them, but find them, point at them, let us know that they're there, or bark at them. Facebook user, hey from Louisiana. JJ Willow says thumbs up, absolutely. Cheryl says hello from Southwest Virginia. Happy to be here learning. I'm happy you are joining us. Hannah Mar says slow. What does slow even mean, right? Rick says Terry has a great Facebook channel. I'm on it all the time. And hello everyone from Grove City, Ohio. Cool. Appreciate that, Rick. Glad you're enjoying the Facebook group. Irene Murphy says, yes, quail do smell. Yes, they do. You know what I did notice, though, since changing feed, I never really had an issue before with feed on my adult birds, but my chicks, when I was feeding them Purina Game Bird Starter, holy smokes did their manure smell. And I didn't realize it was that bad until I switched over to Kalmbach Game Bird. And, it still has an odor to it, but it's probably half or a third of what it was. I can actually walk out in the quail room after, I clean cages pretty much every day, but I can let it go for, 2-3 days and still be able to walk out in the room and not be overtaken by ammonia. Though Choo Choo says, I only trust Gulf Coast quail. Of course you do. Yud says, I'm hatching my second batch with Southwest Game Birds. Congratulations. Meep says, I just ordered a whole batch of black quail eggs from Thieving Otter Farms. Meeps, you're going to be happy. I just set another, I think, 30 blacks in the incubator yesterday, as a matter of fact. Andy Rabbit says, I want to enter for the tumbler. Okay. You know what? Andy, you're getting the tumbler just because you asked for it. All right. Bucky Dough Downer says quail smell great in the oven. Absolutely. Laura says, what is the best way to keep the smell down if you keep quail in your garage? The best way to do it, Laura, is when the manure's dry, it doesn't smell. So keep good enough circulation in your garage. What I have is a big 24-inch commercial fan that during the day what I'll do is I'll open my back door of my shop. This is in the winter months because it's cool enough. And I'll put that fan blowing across the manure so it kind of blows the manure out, the smell out of the shop. But it also dries the manure. Once the manure is dry, there is no smell to it. So that's the thing. Circulation, air circulation is the best thing. And if you can't do the circulation, you can actually go to Tractor Supply. They have some stuff called I can't remember the name of it. Q something. It's a 3-letter word. It's like a powder you put on there, and it kills the ammonia smell. But I will warn you, it is pricey. I can't remember the name of it. Q something. I bought it once, and that was the last time I bought it, but it did work. Yud says, I like how easy Cull Ruse was. Yep, they're pretty simple once you get used to it. Facebook user, sweet. I found alive again. Glad you could join us. Clint Neighbor said, hope I make the breeder list in 2024. We're going to look into you guys come 2024. Toxic Night Fox says, thoughts on crossing a jumbo white with Celadon and gold jumbo. Okay, I think I answered that one already. Table Max says, thanks for answering my question. Bob Cole's in the house. Haven't seen Bob in a while. Howdy from Western Mountains of New Mexico. Glad you could join us, Bob. Meep says, I'm excited to see how the Schofield Silvers I hatched turned out. One looks like it might be a lavender all the way through. Cool. Yeah, I haven't had silvers in quite a while. Oh no, I'm going to butcher your name. Chica? I hope I said it right, but if not, sorry about that. Hello from Mali, West Africa. Glad you could join us. Carol says, hello from Alabama. Glad you could join us. Carmel C says, I have 2 roosters with 6 hens. Is that okay? Yeah, that's going to guarantee a good fertility rate. And actually, that's the ratio, like a 1-to-3 or 1-to-4, is what I use for my breeders that I am selling hatching eggs from. Just so I'm guaranteed a better fertility rate. But yeah, that's fine. Hannah Mar says, thieving otter farm, I wonder if you can breed a black quail to get the trait of the blue egg. I'm sure you could. Definitely talk to Rebecca on that. I don't know if Rebecca does Celadons or not, but yeah. It's turning out, the guys with the black quail, it's turning out that there's more of a recipe behind the black quail as far as what it takes to produce them. I know for a while, a lot of people were, I won't say a lot of people, but a few people were saying that the blacks were nothing more than a really dark Graufi. That has been debunked. It's definitely not just a Graufi. For those of you interested in the black quail, get a hold of Rebecca over at Thieving Otter Farm. She's got a wealth of information on her channel. She's also got a group over on Facebook, Black Coturnix breeders or something like that. I want to give you the right name. That is really, it's called Black Coturnix Quail Fanciers. Join that group. Rebecca's in there all the time. She can pretty much answer any questions that you have. Uncle Dude says Beverly Hillbillies Bug Tussle. Okay. JJ Willow, wow, great information here. Glad you're enjoying it. Meep says, baking with quail eggs, you're going to have to post some recipes, mister. No, my wife does the baking. I just supply the eggs. Jeannie says, finally in time for a live. Kinda. I'm glad you could join us, Jeannie. Jacob says, I love quails, as do all of us. Chase says, can quail eggs be used for baking? I heard they make stuff hard. No, we use them in baking all the time. no different than any other egg. I mean, I haven't noticed any difference anyhow. Rick says, I made meatloaf with quail eggs. It was hard as a rock. I didn't put in enough eggs. Could not eat the meatloaf. Okay. So it wasn't the quail eggs. Human error. Michelle says, if you want to rest a large quantity before freezing, you can just leave them in an ice chest of water overnight. There you go. Yep. Yeah, I haven't had no issues. I mean, even when we thaw birds that come out of the freezer, and this is the reason we don't let them rest prior to going in the freezer. When we take them out of the freezer, they sit. First we thaw them out on the counter, and that's usually for half a day or more. Then they go in the freezer in their brine bath or their whatever we're marinating them in, and they stay in there for another 12 or 24 hours. So yeah. Hannah says, so you don't believe in the sit over 24 hours to get tender? Yeah, I just explained that. We do let them sit, which kind of it marinates them, and it also allows any rigor mortis to subside. If nobody else said it, be sure to hit the like button. Also a big hello to Rebecca. Andy Rabbit says, has anyone used the quail legs to make chicken wings? I do it all the time. Matter of fact, when I said earlier, when we butcher quail, the birds that we're keeping for us, the legs get removed. The breasts go in one bag in the freezer. All the legs go in another bag in the freezer. And yes, we... like a lot of times my wife will make just quail eggs for dinner. And I like the quail. I actually like the legs more than I like the breast meat. So, yeah. Thieving Otter Farm says thanks. Thieving Otter Farm says hi, Jenny. Poker Face, talking to Julie. Clinton Abrams said he is right. Rebecca, you have a great color. Hannah Mars says, I'm debating on making a rainwater quail water dish for summer. Any suggestions? I'm actually doing the same thing, Hannah. I just went and got some food grade 55-gallon drums, and I am setting up a rain collection system off of my roof, and it's going to go into the food grade drums, and that's what I'm going to be using for water for all my birds. It'll be pumped inside for the indoor birds, and I'll also be carrying it out to the aviary for the birds that are outdoors. Miss Kitty's in the house. Says hello from Utah. Not talking to me. How does the giveaway work? We just give stuff away. No. Tonight's live, I'm just going to select a few people that want some hatching eggs. It looks like I've already got the gift certificate given away, and I've already got the tumbler given away. So I need 2 people that want hatching eggs. We're giving away hatching eggs from Thieving Otter Farm, and that'll be mixed eggs. We're also giving a hatchery choice 30 count from Southwest Game Birds tonight. So, yeah, if you guys want, go ahead and comment real quick, Southwest Game Birds or Thieving Otter, and that way I'll know you want the eggs, and I'll pick a name. Jeff says hi from Converse, Louisiana. Glad you could join us. Hit the like, y'all, from Sundial. Shop Sophia says my quail are hatching tomorrow. A lamp with 150 watt is enough. Also, I don't see any of them moving so far as is normal. I'm going to keep them inside my house in a cage. Any tips? Okay, you're saying 150 watt heat lamp. Is that going to be in your brooder? Yes, that's more than enough. I only use a 100 watt bulb. What you want to do is set that bulb on top of your brooder, or so the birds can get under it. Watch your chicks. If they're all huddling underneath that light, it's too cold. You need to lower that light down a little bit closer to the birds. If they're all on the far end of the brooder staying away from the light, it's too hot. So use your chicks as a gauge to how to decide how close that light needs to be. And don't worry about the eggs not moving. Just if they're due to hatch, what did you say, tomorrow? Yeah, you'll probably get, the bulk of them start hatching tomorrow and maybe even into the next day. So, yeah, don't worry about it. Just let them be and they'll hatch out. Andy Rabbit says, I was very pleased with my hatch rate from Rebecca, even with me losing power 2 different times during the hatch. I remember reading about that. Julie says, I received eggs from Kansas City Quail on my birthday. Can't wait to see the results. I actually just hatched out, I can't remember exactly how many. I got like 240 from her. I think I had 200 go into the incubator, or 200 go into lockdown, and then, oh, my dog's sleeping behind me. I didn't even know you were there. And then I had a pretty decent hatch rate. I think I had like over 150 out of the 200 hatch out, maybe even more than that. Hannah says, can't wait for Terry to come out with hatching eggs. Yeah, I did announce earlier this year that I was going to be selling hatching eggs or start shipping hatching eggs this year. And that was actually supposed to start this month. But with what I've got going on here with doctors and hospitals and whatnot, I had to push that back a little bit. I still plan on offering hatching eggs in the near future, and I will let you know as soon as that becomes available. If you watch my website, which is GulfCoastQuail.com, when I post eggs available there, they're available. Probably maybe April, I want to say. I got a few things coming up. I actually got a surgery coming up, so yeah. Like I say, I got to get this nonsense going on with me done first, then we'll worry about the eggs and stuff and the birds. Sam says, how many generations is inbreeding safe? If I only start with 20 and get to 200, would there be some inbreeding happening? After talking with Michael Rose and even Rebecca Lynch, I don't even worry about inbreeding anymore. Michael Rose was explaining to me that some of these tests, that breeding trials or breeding tests that are going on with quail, and these are, they're doing, hundreds and hundreds of birds, and they're testing. They don't even consider inbreeding until after they hit the 200 generation mark. I think that's how he explained it to me. Rebecca, if you're still in here, and you know what I'm talking about, post something there if you would. But he said that, it's an ungodly amount of generations that you can go before they even have to worry about it. So don't even give inbreeding a second thought. Especially if you're buying hatching eggs from a commercial breeder or a breeder. Most of the times they have multiple bloodlines in one cage, or one breeding group. And even say 2 different males or 3 different males in that breeding group, they may be different bloodlines. So you're already getting a diverse bloodline to start with. And yeah, it's going to take a lot of generations before you've got to worry about running into issues with it. Laura says, we got our eggs from Rising Phoenix Farm, South Carolina, and Myshire Farms. Are you familiar with either one? I've never heard of Rising Phoenix. I do know Myshire Farm. I don't use either of them right now. Like I say, I got a select few that I use. But yeah, I have heard of Myshire, just haven't heard of the Rising Phoenix. Hold on, guys. Rudy says, just got a 75% first hatch with your incubator. Congratulations. Yeah, once you get those incubators dialed in, they work. I mean, I'll put that incubator, I'll put the one that I have out in my shop neck and neck with any commercial model out there, because it does as well as any commercial incubator I've ever used. So, once you get them tweaked and dialed in, they work great. Darren says, got chicks, where am I at? Got chicks pipping from this morning, but not out yet. Day 17, is that normal? Yeah, don't worry about it. If they started to pip and they just haven't busted out of the egg, you're only on day 17. Most likely, they're going to start all popping out of the eggs at the same time. But they're probably just, took a little more work to pip, and they're just taking a little bit of a break before they start breaking out of the egg. And 2, day 17, depending on the temperature of your incubator, you could have, I won't say warm and cold spots, but you could be a degree or 2 under what you think you are, and you're actually a day behind. So you'd actually be on day 16 now instead of 17, and they just started pipping. So yeah, I would bet that tomorrow is going to be your big hatch day, or even tonight. Glenn says, my last hatch, I got 77 of 79 hatched. Wow. My problem on processing day is getting them from ice bath to freezer. I always seem to lose some when I get by the air fryer. I hear you. Yep, that's funny. Rick says, I started with 51 quail. I now have 140. I'm going to stop inbreeding now. I got some new blood coming. I don't know how long it would take to hurt them. Okay, like I just mentioned, I wouldn't even worry about it. Another thing, and I used to years ago say, yeah, every once in a while you want to introduce new blood. But after talking with some people that know, and again, you know, Rebecca Lynch, Michael Rose, Anita Garrett, people like that, you don't need to introduce new blood. And the reason behind that is when you introduce new blood, everything that you've been working on for, say, the past year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, when you introduce that new blood, you can totally screw up everything that you've been working on. And, you know, you've been culling birds, you know, for whether it's color, pattern, weight, whatever it might be. By introducing that new blood, you may have just screwed up your entire breeding program. You're better off staying with your own breeding program and doing something like maybe a spiral breeding program to where you can keep those, the traits that you've been working hard to get, you can keep them going. So yeah, introducing new blood, especially you say you're at 140 quail now, you can go for a long time without, you know, looking for outside blood. But yeah, keep that in mind. If you do introduce new blood, you might want to do a small group that you're breeding with that new blood, just to make sure you're not going to screw up everything that you've worked for. Practical Junk says, hi Terry, sorry I missed the last few lives. Been working on many upgrades for my setup. I actually haven't missed any lives because I haven't gone live in a few weeks now. So yeah, you didn't miss anything, but glad you could join us. Juan says, hi, watching from the Philippines. Cool, great tutorial show. Glad you could join us, Juan. Opalescent roses. Opalescence roses. I hope I said that. Hi, everyone. The Steve B33 is in the house. Good to hear you again. Glad you could join us. Brian says, Terry, I can find the the 1x1/2 coated wire for the bottom of my cages. Oh, I can't find that. Go to fencerwire.com. They have it. I get it off of Amazon, and I believe it's sold by Fencer Wire, the Fencer Wire store on Amazon. But yeah, if you get a hold of them through their website, they can give you pretty much whatever you want. Darren says, what do I do? Increase humidity, have to open the incubator, so humidity at 63%. You're saying you have to open the incubator? 63% is perfect humidity for lockdown. I keep it a little bit lower than that for incubating, but wow, that's late. Amazon just delivered a package this late. Yeah, I mean, if you do have to open the incubator, do it quick. You know, if you're worried about the incubator dropping, be honest with you, I don't ever worry about opening my incubator unless I have chicks that have just pipped or are partially out of the egg. Then I won't open the incubator. I'll wait till everybody's out of the eggs. If you're worried about maybe pulling out chicks that have already hatched, but you still got eggs that have pipped or haven't hatched yet, just leave the chicks in there until they're all done hatching. You know, chicks can stay. I think I saw a post on that just recently on the Facebook group page. You know, a lot of people leave their chicks in the incubator 24 to 48 hours with no ill effects. You know, they'll do just fine. Michelle says, yeah, I've been gone for a stretch. Been struggling with my cancer. Ooh, sorry to hear that. I'm just coming into a better stretch, and I just hatched my first batch in many months. Excited to find your live today. I'm glad you could join us today, Michelle, and I hope everything goes well for you. Darren says, have 5 out and 85 more. Okay. Oh, if you've got 5 out and you're worried about the other 80, don't even worry about the 5. Leave them in there till everybody else hatches out. Then take them out. RBL Jackson says, can I do a scaled quail in the hatching time cages, or will they not work well in that environment? I've never done scaled quail, so I don't know. I don't even know if I would do bob whites in there because I think, bob whites need more of like a flight pen. So, yeah, I don't know. You'd have to talk with somebody that's got more experience with that type of quail. Michael Perry says, evening all, hadn't made it in a while. Hope everyone's doing well. Glad you could join us, Michael. Silverthorn says, can I put 2 roos to 10 hens in the hatching time cages with the center walls removed? Standard size quail, I would say that would be fine. You might, yes, you can do it, but it's going to be tight with jumbos. I've done up to 10 birds in there, so 2 more isn't really going to be, that big of a deal. But, a lot of people are going to frown on really packing your birds in. But to be honest with you, it doesn't bother the birds to be packed in tight. They've been bred for that. They've been what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of it. But anyhow, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Let's see. Don says hello from Central Illinois. Glad you could join us. Talking to somebody else. Jennifer says, hey everyone, South Alabama here. Dennis says, what do you think the best bird for egg production? I would go just jumbo pharaohs. The JMF line, which Anita Garrett from AJ Farms LLC, she carries them. Michael Rose from Southwest Game Bird is also a JMF breeder, and Naomi from Kansas City Quail Farm. Any of those breeders are excellent choices, and the JMF line are excellent egg producers. So, table net question: any opinion over a wire floor versus solid floor with deep litter for quail? If you're going with a deep litter method, I would just go with a solid floor. It's going to make cleanup a lot easier. I do the deep litter method out in my aviary, and I've got a concrete floor in that. Del Chuchu says, question, have you encountered the Celadon gene unexpectedly? I have, several times. Just every once in a while a bird will pop out. The problem is I have so many birds in the cage, I never know which one laid the Celadon egg or the blue egg, so I never know who my Celadon layers are. But I don't care to keep Celadons. So. Heather says, what do you think about medicated feed? It's unneeded. If you run into issues, like you're getting birds that require medicated feed, you really need to watch it, because that can spread very quickly through your entire flock. If it was to happen to me, I would probably cull everything I had. I wouldn't even try to treat it. I think medicated feed is more for chickens, because it's a precaution, because chickens wander outside and on the ground, and they can pick it up a lot quicker or a lot easier than a quail would that's indoors and off the ground. Let's see. But yeah, you don't need medicated feed. Samantha says, when you order Southwest Game Birds, make sure you use the Coturnix Corner as your code for 10% off. Thanks, Samantha. I forgot all about that. Yes, Southwest Game Bird does offer a 10% discount if you use the coupon code Coturnix Corner during checkout. And they also have another code if you're a first-time buyer. I'm not sure exactly what the code is, 25% maybe. You can get 25% off your first order. Chase says, can 2x3 totes work as breeding cages? They wouldn't work for me, just because of temperature, and I like to have a lot of air circulation around my birds. No, I use totes as brooders, and I only keep the chicks in them for, up to 12 to 14 days, and they're out of the brooders. So, Chris says, hello from Manning, South Carolina. What time is it? Oh, 8:38. Got to keep rolling here. Don says, I want to enter for the tumbler. Tumbler, I believe, is already gone for today. Yep, tumbler's gone today. But you can get in on the eggs. RBL Jackson says, I'm getting a 3-tier hatching time quail cage set up, plus a 1-tier brooder and a 1-tier grow out. How would you organize your quail for a meat and egg production setup schedule to incubate? How would I organize my quail? Well, you're going to have to select your breeding groups, obviously. And then quail and meat production. Okay, well, it's going to depend, one, on at what age that you want to butcher the birds. Most likely it's going to be around 8 weeks old. So you got to keep in mind that every 2 months you're going to be needing more birds to replace the ones that you just butchered. But luckily for you, the quail reproduce quick, or they hatch out quick. You're only looking at 17, 18 days for them to hatch out. So yeah, sitting down doing all the math. I mean, I can tell you in my shop because I got so many cages. I'm trying to think what would be the best. I mean, I'm throwing eggs in the incubator usually every week. I set another batch of eggs, but I'm not doing the meat production, and right now I'm not shipping hatching eggs. So I basically only need to produce what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to sell locally, and what I'm going to incubate. So I don't have it down to an exact science. I just kind of know what I need to set up. So I'm sorry I couldn't give you a better answer on that, but I think that you'll kind of figure it out as you go. Especially if you set 100 eggs and then you butcher 100 birds. Well, what are you going to replace those 100 birds with? Because half of those eggs, we'll say half of them are going to be hens, half of them are going to be roosters. In a perfect world. So you gotta, I should have done 200 eggs instead of 100 eggs. So yeah, it's going to take some trial and error, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. Heather says, questions, what do you think about medicated feed? I just answered one like that. Denham Springs, Louisiana, Backyard Blues Farms. Heather Freeman, hey, I hope you feel better. Thank you, and I just talked about the medicated feed. It's really unneeded. Sundial says, glad you're okay. Dawn says, I had to stop hatching for the winter, but I will be saving my own first egg starting next week to hatch. That will be fun. Absolutely, it will. AJ says, hello everyone. Hi Terry, I have a question. What are the dimensions of the hatching trays you use for your homemade cabinet incubator? I'm planning to make one myself. Well, the inside dimension of the incubator is 16 inches wide, and then I think it's like 18 deep. So basically all you got to do is make the width of the hatching tray to be able to fit into a 16-inch space. So, if you make it 15 3/4 inches, it should fit in there fine. My hatching trays are 3 inches tall. So keep that in mind when you do your spacing. If you follow the directions on the homemade incubator, it will fit those 15 3/4 by 15 3/4 by 3-inch trays with a lid on it also. Not talking to me. Sorry about that. Talking to me. Sundial says, thank you for the video on processing quail. After watching it, it helped me a lot. I'm glad that helped. Del Chuchu says, we need more aviary content, Terry. My wife says hello. Tell your wife I said hi. And yeah, I'll do a video from out there in the aviary. Matter of fact, I got to do some work out there, so I could probably do a video on that when I'm doing it. Talking to me. Hannah likes the same thing. Maybe a video on the aviary. Curious about the setup. Yusuf's in the house. Glad you could join us, Yusuf. Hi, Terry, and everyone from Massachusetts. Glad you could join us, young man. AJ said, I built your 3-stack quail cages you have a tutorial on. I love it. It was my first build ever. You made it really simple for the newbies. Thank you so much. You're welcome. And yeah, that was the whole point behind. I try to make everything as simple as possible. I know I have a bad habit of over explaining things, but I want everybody to understand what I'm saying. That's why I do it. Let's see here. Jeannie says, got COVID the end of November, which is why I missed the broadcast. Ouch. Just now over it, and I'm ready to get some eggs to improve the stock I have. Cool. And I'm glad you're over being sick. Stills and Squeals, so smash the like button. Let's get Terry over 100 likes. We're at 104 now. Congratulations. Heather says, questions. Have you seen different gene breeding in Celadon genes for the colors and normal color genetics? I have weird results from mixing. I've never done anything with Celadon, so I can't answer that. Like I say, check with Rebecca, Thieving Otter Farm. I'm sure she does. I think she does sell it on, if I'm not mistaken. James in the house says, hello from Cape Coral, Florida. New to Quail, and want to say thanks for your wealth of shared knowledge on this platform. Absolutely, James. And yeah, good luck with your quail, and hope everything works out good for you. Facebook user says, ready for our birds. Michaela says, thank you for all the content. We have 79 eggs in the incubator. Cool. I love my quail, and I'm sharing the quail craziness with my sister. Yeah, it's kind of habit forming. I wish I could get my wife as interested in it as I am. I mean, she does help me. She helps me clean cages and what, but I'd like to get her sorting birds and butchering and, taking care of the aviary, kind of stuff like that. But Heather says, question, how do you feel about diatomaceous earth in the dust beds? I've heard of people using it. I've never used it. To me, it's not really needed. And if you use too much, it can actually cause respiratory issues. Even with the food grade diatomaceous earth. But I have heard, some people say that, if they have like a mite problem on their birds, that will help to alleviate that. So, but I don't use it, no. Meep says, I'm using Homestead Harvest feed, but I'm still too new to quail to really have much of an opinion on the smell. I haven't really had much of an issue with the indoor bird. Yeah, I think feed plays a big role in the smell, especially when it comes to your chicks. It seems like that higher protein feed just does something to them. Tyson says, question, what electric light do you use in your water? Electric light. Wait a minute. Are you talking about what electrolytes? That makes more sense to use in your water. What I use, Tyson, it's electrolyte, a vitamin electrolyte solution made by Durvet. I don't have any in here, or I would show you what the packaging looks like. But if you do, like if you go on Amazon, do a search for Durvet, Durvet, and they got a whole collection of stuff. They got vitamins, they got electrolytes, they got vitamin and electrolytes, which is the ones that I use. And I've been using it for a long time. I will say that you want to make sure when you mix it, don't follow the instructions on the package. Mix it about 1/4 of what they say. They don't need full strength electrolytes. Not talking to me. Facebook user, I want in on the Southwest eggs. I don't know who you are, Facebook user, so I can't give you the Southwest game bird eggs. Heather says, question, how do you feel about dry hatching? That's all I do is dry hatch. The only time I add water to the incubator, I guess you'd call it a hybrid hatch, because I do use water, but only during lockdown. I incubate at about 30 to 35% humidity, and I hatch at about 60 to 65%. So. Stills and Squeals says, can't wait to be able to order from Thieving Otter. I love their birds. PDZ, thank you very much. That's what it was called. PDZ also, for the smell. Meep says, I heard adding a bit of sand to the manure tray helps keep the smell down since it helps dry out the manure faster. Yeah, and I do the same thing, but not with sand. I use pine shavings, fine pine shavings. I'll put just a light layer down in my trays, and it pretty much absorbs most of the moisture. But like I said, if you've got a circulation fan moving air over that, it's going to dry it out really fast, and you won't even have any smell. Farron says, the Kalmbach helped the smell, but I found fine pine shavings on the tray works great and makes cleaning super easy. It does. Yep. As a matter of fact, guys, I'm building right now a incinerator. Normally what I do is I take all my manure and I would just pile it up on my compost pile and just compost it for the garden. But I've got a full compost bin right now. So what I'm doing now is I'm building an incinerator. And for the past, I don't know, probably 2 months, I've been just pouring all my quail manure into garbage cans and giving it to the garbage man. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to build an incinerator and I'm going to incinerate everything. And then all I've got is a pile of ashes, which I can till into my garden, to help out with that. But yeah, that'll probably be a video when I get a working incinerator done.
Awesome.
Diana Tuttle says, my 6-week-old quail just started laying. Congratulations. Barbara says, also sold as stall dry. Okay. Oh, the PDZ, right. Heather says, I can't wait to start the new black ones from Thieving Otter Farm. New big adventure soon. Yeah, I think we're going to see, because Rebecca has spent so much time working with the blacks and getting them to where, they're calm birds. There's no issues with, hatchability or failure to thrive. Good color. I think we're going to see, I won't say a wave take over the U.S., but you're going to see a lot more blacks in the near future on the market. You're going to hear, a lot about people, breeding them and having them available. So, yeah, Rebecca did a good thing. I got a bunch of her. I got a breeding group out in my shop. I got some out in the aviary growing out, and I've also got, I think I just put another 30 eggs in the incubator last night. Rick says, I have over 100 quail in my garage. I clean every 2 days. I use pine chips. I still can't figure out how to get the flies away in the summer. I just use two big fans. Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. The fans keep the air movement going. Another thing that really helps, and I noticed when I'm not closing up the shop and running the air conditioner, I got the back door wide open. Yes, I do get some flies in. I will go and I use what's called Odoban for like mopping and disinfecting. But if you take that, mix it, and I use the lavender scent, mix it about 50%, spray your pine shavings down with that. Flies can't stand the smell of it. They'll take off. Pine Sol will do the same thing. Mix pine Sol and, just mist it over top of your trays, and that will run the flies out. Michael says, I would like to enter to win anything. I'm just getting things collected, and anything would help at this. Cool. All right, Michael. Because you said that, you're going to get some hatching eggs from Thieving Otter Farm. And for those of you that I selected to, either get a hatching eggs or the gift certificate or whatnot, you need to send me your shipping information. I need name, address, a good email address, and a good phone number. And send that information to Terry at coturnixcorner.com. Or if you're on one of the groups that I frequent, like Facebook, Coturnix Corner Facebook, or the coturnixcorner.com website, you can also message me there. But, yeah. Stills and Squeal says, around here, all we have to choose from is jumbo browns or whites. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. If you want colored birds, yeah. Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with jumbo browns. That's the bulk of my birds are jumbo browns. Silverthorn says, I plan to call my tiny farm, quail farm, Silverthorn Quail Farm. Hello from Independence, Oregon. I like the name and welcome. Glad you could join us. Jennifer Mills says, question, does a single white feather on each shoulder of a jumbo feral mean anything? They're supposed to be out of my JFM lines. Well, it means that they are carrying a recessive white gene, which is why they're producing the white feathers. Did you get them from one of the JMF referral farms, either Anita Garrett, Naomi Fannin, Kansas City Quail, or Michael from Southwest Game Birds? Very seldom do I get a white bird. I mean, I have hatched a single white bird out of some of my birds from them, but again, I don't want to mention names, but there are people out there that sell ferals. They call them white wing ferals that will have like white primaries. They're not actually true white wings, but yeah, it just basically you just got a recessive white gene in your feral line. If you're only keeping them for meat stuff, I wouldn't worry about it, or eggs. Tyson's in the house, says hi from Texas. Glad you could join us. Facebook user says, when do you start layer feed? And when they start laying, or full grown 8 to 10 weeks. Mine started laying 2 days shy of 6 weeks. As soon as I start seeing eggs being laid in that batch or in that group of birds, they get switched over to layer feed. And there's two reasonings behind that. One, you want to get your birds on a higher calcium and a lower protein when they start laying, because they need that extra calcium for the shells. But another thing is you want to get them off the expensive feed. You're probably spending close to $10 more for a 50-pound bag of game bird starter as you are for a game layer. So yeah, get them off the game bird starter as soon as they start laying. Animal Game says, do you know of a place that sells Celadon hatching eggs? Kansas City Quail Farm. Naomi Fannin. I don't know if Southwest Game Bird sells them or not. I don't think he does. Or if he does, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But I know Kansas City Quail Farm does. Bay with the Bay says 352 eggs going to lockdown in 2 days. All the chicks are already sold as Dales. Cool. That's the way to do it. Set them, hatch them, sell them. I like it when they're out the door quick. Heather says South Louisiana has been raining so much, poop, poop, poop on their feet. Sand is so important for my quail's health, being so wet. Yeah, if you're especially, being on the ground like that, your drainage has to be really good to get that water away from them. So yeah, I understand that. We get the same thing. I mean, in summertime down here, rainy season, every day rain. Not all day, but it rains enough to where everything's saturated all the time. Heather says, click the like. Absolutely. Stand a Man says, found the channel today. Great stuff. Hello from Central Louisiana. Glad you could join us. And thanks for the comment. Wolfpack's in the house says, had to move and relocate to a new home. Building up my jumbo quail. Thought about trying something new this time. What are your thoughts on the hatching time cages? I like to build myself back up to 300. I use the hatching time cages. I use them as breeder cages, so for like specific breeding programs. I have 3 sets of 3-tier hatching time cages that are nothing but breeders, but I also have some that are they're wide open cages that I have one big group in each cage or in each tier that are for layers. So if you're going to be doing jumbos and you want to get your numbers up, I would, to be honest with you, go with a wire cage that's going to give you a little more room width-wise. Well, width-wise is the same. Depth-wise, you're going to gain a few inches on the wire cages. It's really your call. It's all going to depend on how tightly you want to pack your birds. Some people don't like to pack them in tight. Other people, swear by it. They love the birds love being packed in that tight. So, let's see. Makers in the House says, I'm from Alexandria, Louisiana. Andy Rabbit says, I got a 4.3 gram egg and a 22.4 gram egg today. Yeah, that's quite the difference there, huh? Jake says, thanks for your advice. Absolutely. And I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Heather says, I have a house built runner in between the caged off sides. I can't picture that. I actually use sand. Okay. Works way better. Okay, you're not talking to me. Dale's in the house says, when is a good time to catch hatching eggs on Gulf Coast quail? I never seem to see any posted. Yeah, and you won't see any posted until probably late March, early April. Like I said, I've got some issues going on here right now with my health that I've got to take care of first before I worry about hatching eggs and stuff like that. So once that's taken care of, when you see the stuff on the channel, it will be available. I will also share that information on the Facebook group pages, just to let you know that I do have stuff available on the website. Stills the Squeal says, I ordered that electric quail egg peeler. Hope it works great. Watch my second video on the quail egg peeler. The first video, I said they're terrible. You don't want to use them. They don't work. But then I actually talked to not the manufacturer, but the seller on eBay or on Amazon, and she sent me another one. I sent my first one back. She sent me another one for free and said, here's the instructions. This is how you do it. You messed up the first time. And by God, she was right, because I followed her instructions and it works like a charm. Stills the Squeal says, I need hatching eggs. Grind says, me. Courtney says, Southwest Game Birds. Chase signed me up. Okay, boy, everybody's... William says, questions. Any ideas on how you can give quail sand baths in the layer cages? If you're talking about the layer cages, like the wire cages I have, I use a dish pan. Pick them up at dollar store for $1, $1.25 now. They got to change their name to $1.25 store. But yeah, I just use, it's a, I don't know, maybe 16 inches by 12 or 14 inches. I put a little, couple inches of sand at the bottom, slide it in the cage, and they all can't fit in there at one time, but I think they kind of share it, but and I don't do it a lot anymore. I used to give them sand baths all the time, but I probably ought to get back into it. They probably like me a little bit better, but yeah, you can get, just find you a tub that you can fit through the door of your cage and put some sand in it and they'll use it. Jeannie Palmer says, I would be over the moon delighted with hatching eggs from Thieving Otter Farm. Well, unfortunately, the Thieving Otter Farms are spoken for, but we do have some Southwest Game Birds. Barbara Croy says eggs would be awesome. Yud says hatching eggs. Boy, a lot of people are wanting hatching eggs today. Sandy Peterson Photography says, just bought an incubator and my first batch of hatching eggs. Super excited. Congratulations. Good luck with your hatch. Facebook user says, I'll take some of those eggs. All you Facebook guys, I can't give you anything because I don't know who you are. Jennifer says, me, Southwest Gamers. Okay. Laura says, have you ever tried to make your own feed? What are your thoughts about adding crushed up eggshells for calcium? Please enter me in the giveaway. Laura, yes. No, I have not tried to make my own feed. A guy that we had on here, Del Chuchu, he's actually in the chat room today. He's from Cuba. He actually has made his own feed because out of necessity, he had to make it. I have not, but I have done the crushed up shells back to my birds. A lot of times what I'll do is when I'm boiling up eggs for hard-boiled eggs, I run the eggs through the sheller machine and all the shells go into a little bucket. I'll spread them out on a like a cookie sheet or baking sheet, throw them in the oven on 200 degrees, 250 degrees, bake them until they're dry. Then they get really brittle and they crush up real small, and then I will sprinkle that on top of their feed. And yeah, it just helps with the calcium. And it, I'm reusing stuff, so why not? All right, I'm skipping over all the eggs, people. Michael says, I'm interested in anxiety. Have a neighbor that could hatch them for me as we get our first step. Michael. Oh, you got selected for the eggs. I'm interested. Okay, well, as long as you got somebody that can hatch them for you, we'll go ahead and still send them to you. I think you're saying I'm interested in the eggs. Why would you be interested in anxiety? That doesn't make any sense. But anyhow, okay, let's see. Get past all the hatching eggs. Yeah, we're at 9 o'clock, guys. It's time to call it a night. Prop Wash got your incubator working perfectly. Cool. Oh, was that you I was talking to on Facebook Messenger? Facebook user says, how old is too old to send roosters for freezer camp? There really is no age for freezer camp. I mean, I like younger birds that I'm butchering up for eating, but a lot of people I know will, and what I do with the older birds, I still butcher them, but they usually end up as dog food. I feed the older birds to my dogs, and all our younger stuff we eat. So yeah, there's really no age. Okay, let me get going, guys, because we're running out of time here. Yeah, says, question, how long do you leave baby chicks in the incubator after hatch? 24 to 48 hours. I see a lot of people, they get the first batch, or the first chicks will start hatching out, and then, it'll kind of slow down a little bit. They still got a bunch of eggs ready, or that haven't hatched, and they want to open up the incubator and get the first chicks out, and then just leave the birds in there. 24 to 48 hours is fine. Let everybody hatch out, get the bulk of them hatched out, then get them out of the incubator into the brooders. And then if you do have a few eggs left and you want to give them another day, you can do that. Alright, just sent a request to the back Quail page. Fred's in the house, says, hey, I'm Fred. Good evening, y'all. Been watching on YouTube. Just got the channel hooked up, but yeah, I'd like some bags if you still have them. Thanks for the knowledge that you give up. Bags or eggs? I think that's eggs, probably. Chosen One says, I'm in Minnesota. Our birds are 9 weeks old with a UVB bulb in my garage. High is 37, low is 19. Yeah, they can handle it. Blue says, so I started some Bob White quail eggs to get started. If I started them at 9 a.m., would I count that day as 1 and the following day as 2 and so on? Or is it still the next day? When I set eggs, I count the day, unless I set them late in the day. But normally I got a routine. I set them, like noon or so. I always count the day that I set them. That's day 1. I'll look at the calendar and I'll jump 2 weeks ahead. So I'll jump to day 14, mark that on the calendar, and that's the day they go into lockdown. If you're going to set them like late in the evening, like say 9, 10 o'clock at night or whatever, or just later in the evening, then yeah, you could count the next day as day 1 and go from there. I'm glad you could join us regardless, Anita. Okay, I'm going to skip over all this because Farmer Brad says, any advice on how to harden out the quail? I struggle adjusting them from the brooder to the barn with the cages. What I do is I will, while they're still in the brooder, I will turn the heat lamp off during the day. This is once they're feathered out, or feathering out. Like they got all their body feathers, but their head still isn't feathered out. I will shut the heat lamp off during the day, but I will turn it on at night unless the temperature, say, is above 70 at night. But right now it's a little bit cooler. And I'll do that for 2 or 3 days, and then I will move them into their grow-out cages, which is out in the regular quail room. But I do have a heat lamp that I set on top of the grow-out cage, or sometimes I'll wire it to the face of the cage. I'll leave the light off during the day, only turning it on at night, and I'll do that for maybe 1 or 2 days, and then after that they're on their own. Once they're feathered out, I'll transition them into the grow-out cages. They're tough enough; they can handle it. Unless you're getting down below 0, I wouldn't worry about them. JJ Willow says, I use my shire because I was hoping the quail would be used to my weather, but oh boy, it takes forever to get them. Yeah, my shire's got they take orders, they back order a lot of eggs, so yeah, if you're not willing to wait, go to somebody else. Anita Garrett, AJ Farms LLC, she's probably close to you, I guess. You didn't say where you were, but what she posts on her website that's available ships the very next Monday. So if you order on Thursday, your eggs are leaving Monday. If you order on Friday, your eggs are leaving Monday. I believe Monday she ships. But yeah, They're great. Same with Southwest Game Birds. Michael's always got a really quick turnaround. And Michael's even on his website, he even has when you order, has a place where you can select what day you want to ship. And if that day is not available, it says something like ship at the earliest time or something like that. Ricky says, Barado or Incubator warehouse looking for hatching 30 to 50 eggs a batch. Ricky, I would go with the Lumia 16. It's the Barado Lumia. You'll like that. I've never used any of the incubators from Incubator Warehouse, so I can't speak for them, but I can speak for the Barados. They do me right every time. I've never had a bad hatch in my Barados. Facebook user said, I thought I read it was better to breed father to daughter or son to mother than siblings. Any truth to that? Yes. If you can avoid breeding brother to sister, I would definitely do that. But if you're trying to improve on a trait, then yes, use father, daughter, mother, son breeding to pull that trait out. So yes, I agree with that. Yusuf says, why do I always have a bad hatch rate on shipped eggs? Shipping is hard on eggs, buddy. You never know how the eggs are going to be treated at the post office. A lot of times they can be delayed in shipping. But I think the biggest issue with shipped eggs is most of the egg, I won't say most of the eggs, a lot of the eggs can be basically scrambled inside the shell by the time you get them. They get kicked, dropped. If you ever been to a USPS sorting facilities, they have these big conveyor belts that go way up in the air. I mean, like 15, 20 feet up, and the packages drop off into these bins. And I don't see how eggs even survive shipping sometimes. So, yeah, I mean, always expect poor hatch rates on shipped eggs. And if you get a good hatch, count your lucky stars. It's a blessing. So, but yeah, I never, and that's why I don't agree with offering like a hatch rate guarantee on shipped eggs, because how can you guarantee that them eggs are going to get there in decent enough condition to hatch out? To get a good hatch rate. And I know some people do offer a hatch rate, or a hatch rate guarantee, but to me it's a gamble. Richard says, I have heard hatch rates over 92.7% with Southwest Game Birds. They will be my next egg order. Maybe some of those JMF Jumbo Whites. Yeah, I mean, I've got excellent hatch rates with Southwest Game Birds. I've also got horrible hatch rates from Southwest Game Birds. And again, you can't blame the breeder. It's shipping. There's just so much stuff that can happen during the point A to point B. If you do get a good hatch rate, like I say, count your lucky stars. But yeah, I highly recommend Southwest Game Birds. Always done right by me. Wolf Guy is in the house. Says, hello. Hope you're feeling better. Terry, didn't realize you'd be going live tonight. Been so busy. Yeah, I got a week off of testing and whatnot, so I thought, you know what? I'm feeling pretty good. Let's go ahead and go live. Rick says, I don't try to get anything new. I just like the birds I got. My neighbors love me. I give them eggs in the summer daily. One day I got 209 eggs. Nice. I was walking the neighborhood trying to give eggs away. Cool. Del Chuchu says, I love this long stream. I don't. I don't mind, but I'm trying to get through all this. Oh, wow. Del Chuchu said one of his quail escaped, got trapped in the sofa. I hope he's okay. Joan says, thanks for the info on whether to introduce new blood. I thought I read that it's better to breed father or daughter. Yep, than siblings. Any truth to that? Yeah, I think I just answered that, but yes. Thieving Otter Farm says, Terry, the inbreeding you mentioned about in laboratories is called an inbreeding coefficient. They breed for 20 generations before they feel they're genetically close enough to use for experiments. Thanks, Rebecca. I knew I heard something like that. I think I said 200, so I kind of misspoke on that. But yeah, I mean, they're breeding. They inbreed for 20 generations. I mean, that's a lot of generations to breed. Purposely inbreed before you even start their experiments. So let's see. All right, Kurt Schneider, you're going to get the Southwest Game Birds. Eggs. Okay, again, for the people that have been called or selected to win tonight, email me your shipping information to terry@coturnixcorner.com. Make sure I get not only your shipping information, but a good phone number and a good email. That way, if these shippers need to get a hold of you, they can. And I am going to skip down to the bottom because I think, unless there's something very specific. Yud says, what do you think about the Quail tractor from Dale's Quails? I have not seen it, but I have seen a lot of comments on, from people that have bought stuff through Dale's Quails, and they were very happy with what they were getting. So I would imagine, I've never used a Quail tractor, so I can't talk about them, but as far as quality goes, I'm pretty sure Dale's Quails has got decent quality stuff. Question, do you prefer heat lamp or heat plate? I went back to heat lamps. I did a review of a heat plate a while back, and it's sitting down there in a box. Matter of fact, I was going to give it away. I've got a big heat plate that I was going to give away as a giveaway, and I forgot about it. But I like the lamps. One, I can see that the lamp is actually producing heat, and I can watch my chicks and tell whether or not they're too hot, too cold, or just right. The heat plate, you can't see much. I mean, if the chicks go under there because they're cold, are they warm enough, or are they under there and still cold? So yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people use them, and I did do a review on them, and I gave it a positive review. But after using it for a while, I went back to the heat lamps just because I feel more comfortable. And with my setup, it's a lot easier for me to put the heat lamps on top of my brooders. So yeah. James Reinette, call. Yes, definitely call. Thieving Out of Farm says, question, with your DIY air purifier, does it work with the fan blowing into the filters as well as out of them? I have the arrow on the filter is pointed towards the drawing side of the fan, so the air is being sucked through the filter. I haven't tried doing it the other. I know what you mean. Here's the problem. If you put the filter on the back side of the fan, so it's being drawn through the filter first, then through the fan, your fan blades don't get all covered in dust and down and all the feathers and whatnot. The filter actually blocks it. If you put it on the other side, yeah, it's still going to filter the air, but all that stuff is going to be going through your fan and dirtying up your fan. So I would suggest the other way around. Okay. James says, question, where in Lee County can I find Kalmbach, or should I just order online? James, go to Futurals down on Palm Beach Boulevard. They just started carrying it, as a matter of fact. I've been on them for several weeks, actually months, to start getting Kalmbach, and they finally got it in. Jason says, question, I have a wine fridge that it converted to an incubator using all the parts you suggested. Temps dropped to 98.5 before going back up, and 101 to going back in. Inkbird is set to 99. Okay, there's three other settings inside the incubator that has to be set. There's a differential set, which is the amount of, you know what, I'll tell you, if you go on the channel, the YouTube channel here, I did a video on the other 3 settings for the incubator. Just go into the videos, do a search for Inkbird, and it'll come up, and watch that video. There's 3 different settings that need to be changed for that to work. If you just have the temperature set, you're going to have an issue with the differential set. The exact same thing that you're talking about is what you were going to run into. So yeah, that's what the problem is. And I'm doing better, by the way. Jose says, what's your favorite color of quail? It's probably a toss-up between pansy and fawn Manchurians. I really like the Manchurians. And I got blacks out there too. I like them too. So yeah, I really don't have a what I would say a favorite. Well, yeah, I do. The red pansy, I think, would be at the top of the list. All right. All right. I'm going to jump down here because I think we pretty much covered everything. Most of it's just comments now. What is that? What is that one? Garrett B says, I had more quail growing together and I downsized, and then the attack on roosters began. How do I downsize and keep the pecking order? First thing you need to do is figure out why you have aggressive birds. And what I would do, and I still do it to this day, any birds show aggression in my flock, they're out of there. They become dog food or dinner. Once you get enough of a covey, or once you get your birds to where you don't have aggression issues, you're not going to run into serious aggression issues when you pair up your birds. I can take birds now from one group, split them up, put them into another group, or I can take a rooster out of this pen, put them in with another batch of hens, and they all do fine. Occasionally, you'll see the pecking order, but it's not enough of a pecking order to injure a bird. If a bird draws blood, they're gone, regardless of how nice the bird is or whatever. They're out. Just I don't put up with any aggression in my flock. If you do have aggression, once you get rid of the aggression, you'll find that you can move birds around, you can pair them up, and you're not going to have any more issues with them. But and I think that's another thing a lot of people are starting to realize. I think, and this goes back to bad information. People are saying, well, yeah, quail, they're aggressive, and the reason you run into aggression is because you got too big of a group or too many birds in a pen or not enough birds in a pen. If you get rid of your aggressive birds and you breed for a non-aggressive flock, you're not going to have those problems. All right. Boy, guys, this one ran really long, a lot longer than I planned, and we still got over 100 people in here. That's crazy. All right, the choo-choo still in there. All right, guys, I'm jumping down to the bottom. Oh, one question down at the bottom. Hunter777 says, questions, what do you recommend for starter feed and layer feed, and what are you currently using? I am currently using Kalmbach, and I have a I believe it's a 28% game bird / turkey starter, and I use a 16% layer feed for my adult birds, and they are both non-GMO. So, all right, down to the bottom of the list. All right, again, one more time for the winners. The Southwest Game Birds is going to Kurt Schneider. Thieving Outer Farms is going to Michael Jaeger. $50 Hatching Time gift certificate is going to Michael Hauser. And the Gulf Coast Quail Tumbler is going to Andy Rabbit. So all of you guys, Terry at CoturnixCorner.com. That's TERRY at CoturnixCorner.com. Send me your shipping information. Good email, good phone number. All right, guys. Sorry we ran so late, but I am really happy that you guys all joined us tonight, stuck around to the end. Much appreciated. Thanks for all the well wishes. I can't say what's going on next week. I don't know. But if I'm up to it, I'll go live. If not, if I've got a week where I got a lot of testing and stuff going on, I'm just gonna deal with that stuff. We'll get back to the channel whenever. So guys, thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you all have a great week. Congratulations to the winners. Thanks to Rebecca and Anita for being in here and helping out with some of the questions. Much appreciated. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.